Hello there, my fabulous friends. Welcome back to Fabulously Frugal and Fancy. I'm Brandy. Today's video is some easy Christmas signs that you can make, some art that you can make easily and for very inexpensive. Most of these, this one you may have seen in a previous video if you saw my rustic vintage video. This sign was in there, but I did want to include it in here as well. This is just a leftover piece of balsa wood that I had. It's very thin. Doesn't cost a lot of money. I think the big sheets are like $4 at Home Depot or something like that. They're very inexpensive, and you just cut it to the size that you want it. This could be done on regular wood. It could be done on anything you had this size, to make this. So I'm just using antique wax on this one. But I wanted to show you this video. It is sped up very quickly. I believe I did 400 speed on these, just to kind of give you an idea of how easy it is to make these simple signs and artwork pieces that when you get them at the regular stores, even Hobby Lobby, you're paying a very large amount for these. Especially this one. This one is very large, but you can pay for the smaller ones even $20 for some of them. Now, Hobby Lobby, with the discounts, you do get them a little cheaper, and it is a better deal, but it's still not the best deal. These are pretty simple to make, and you can even make these and sell these if you wanted to collect a whole bunch of things to make the bases, and then just do some stencils. It'd be pretty inexpensive to get a whole bunch of these made to sell at a craft fair, or to make some money for Christmas. So this is just an idea. I'm using stencils for this, but you could use you could paint your own. You could use your Cricut or Curio to cut the vinyl into these designs. I just had a whole bunch of stencils that were sent to me from Temu. Believe it or not, I never even ordered them. I just got a ton of them, and it was like 2 years ago. So I have a ton of these stencils, and I'd actually never used them. So I wanted to use them and try them out. So I did a variety of different signs. These are obviously not all going in my home. I made these, and I've already given most of them away. I don't have room for any more decor in my house, so what I make, I generally give away. I could try to sell it. However, I am a horrible salesperson. I have tried in the past. It's just not for me. I'm horrible at selling my own things, as far as getting them in picking the right places to set up and all of that. I'm just not very good at that aspect of it. So I love to create, and I create these signs this year to make and give away. So I did make quite a few of these, gave them out to different people, and I'm still making some more and giving them to other people. So it's just kind of an easy way to give a Christmas gift as well. You can give some people some home decor items, and it's a very nice gift because, again, it can save them a lot of money. So as you see, I'm just doing a variety of the winter pine trees, kind of like a forest of trees, and giving them some snow and stuff like that. So this is, again, it's pretty easy when you have stencils. It takes a little bit of practice, and you want to make sure that you're using a brush and pouncing downward, and you want the brush to be not very full of paint. And you can go over it again and again and make several layers of paint if you want to, but if you want it to be completely thick. But the mistake I made on a couple of these was that I didn't completely, I did sometimes use a little too much paint, so that will run when you do that. So again, just this sign, making the others. I do want to thank you all. I've had lots of comments lately. I've been trying to make sure that I respond to everybody. The comments have been so full of information and helpful advice on how I add the music to my videos and so forth. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the feedback. It helps me to know what to try, what not to try, and what to do. So I'm hoping this video is much better on the sound with the background music and so forth. So let me know what you think of that, how this is sounding in this video, because I did take your suggestions to heart, and I tried to implement all of the suggestions, and I appreciate that so much. I'm not an audio person. I'm not a video audio person, so this is new to me, and I listen to things differently than other people. Everybody listens to things differently. So sometimes you guys hear things that I don't hear, or I'm just blocking it out because I'm like, oh, this is how it is, you know. I don't know, but I am very grateful for the feedback, and the information that you're giving me is very helpful, and I am trying to implement it. Again, this video is sped up pretty quickly. I do use my little craft heat gun to dry these. This heat gun is not high powered, not high heat. It is a craft one, so it's basically a lower temperature than a blow dryer. And for me, it's actually easier to hold, and I can just hang it right there on the side of my table, and it works perfectly. So it's small, and a blow dryer is a lot more cumbersome to have at my table. I have a ton of stuff in my craft room already, and just trying to, you know, organize everything and keep it all organized is not easy. So I try to make sure that I don't have big bulky items around where I'm working, just because I have so much around me that I need to make sure that things are put back and easily in reach. And so that craft gun they're inexpensive on Amazon. I don't remember exactly what I paid, but I believe it was less than $20. It makes it great for drying paint, for doing different things at your craft station. Sometimes you got to dry some stain or some paint or whatever, but you know, it does make it a lot easier. Now, this big sign took me a little bit longer to make because I am layering trees and snow and all of that. So it takes longer to make because I have to give it time to dry in between. However, after this sign, all the rest of the signs I did in like a, I don't know what you want to call it, like a, you know, like a processing table. You know, I had everything set out, and I did one. I did all the backgrounds, and then I let all the backgrounds dry, and then I did all the stenciling, like in a conveyor belt type thing, but it was just me doing it. So I apologize if I sound sick. I just have, my allergies have been going a little crazy. The weather here has been back and forth, warmer, colder, rainy, dry, and this is just my season for my allergies to go a little bit crazy. They do have me on some extra allergy meds right now to kind of compensate for that, and it is working for the most part. So just bear with me if I do sound a little bit nasal or sinusy. I do apologize for that. I actually tried to wait a couple of days before doing this voiceover because I didn't want to sound sick, and I am sounding better. So at least I'm not fully there yet, but I am sounding better. Now, somebody did suggest in my videos that I zoom in a little bit more on my project. I did try to do that from after this video. I am trying to implement that. So sometimes when you suggest something, I can't implement it on the video, the very next video, because that video was already recorded. So this video had been recorded previous to that suggestion. So I do want you to know I did hear your suggestion. I did start to zoom in more on my project while I'm doing it so that it's a little closer to see. Also, I wanted to ask, how many of you crafters are sewers or would like to know how to sew? Starting in January, I will be coming out with some videos on a sewing machine, teaching you, if you do not know how to use a sewing machine, how to use it, the very basics of what a sewing machine does and all its parts, how to work each part, and how to keep it clean and maintain it as well, because I believe if you have a machine, you need to know how to maintain it and upkeep it. So I will be teaching that in some videos, and then doing some basic sewing projects with you, just teaching you the basics of sewing. So if you do not know how to sew and you want to know, maybe you have a sewing machine and it's been sitting there for a while and you're not real comfortable using it. Sometimes they have a lot of buttons. Mine is pretty basic, it doesn't have a lot of buttons, but if you learn all the basics, then it's not as intimidating to use the sewing machine. So having a sewing machine and using a sewing machine can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially with home decor. Pillows, curtains, very simple straight line sewing things that you could save hundreds of dollars if you just use your sewing machine. So it's something to keep in mind, and if you are interested, like I said, that's starting in January. I'm going to be doing that right at the beginning of the year and doing some just basic how-tos on the sewing machine. I want everybody to be able to save the money that you can with having a sewing machine and being able to sew things yourself, it is a huge money saver when it comes to home decor. But also for clothing as well. I have made clothes in the past, and you can honestly save a lot of money if you are into making your own clothes. Now, making your own clothes and so forth is a little bit more, intricate, and you need to learn a little bit more. And if you guys are interested in anything like that, learning how to read a pattern and how to follow a pattern for clothing, let me know. I can teach you that as well. I actually used to teach a home ec class, so I do have all the information for you, and I'd be happy to teach that in some videos as well after we do the basic sewing. If you would like to know more in-depth sewing, quilting, any of that, just let me know. I am not an expert. I have been doing it for a long time, and I enjoy it, but I'm not an expert. There's people out there that know way, way more than I do, but I'd be happy to share my knowledge with you if that's something that you're interested in. Just it kind of depends on how well the sewing videos do and how many people are interested in watching them. If I go further with those lessons and just kind of teaching a little bit more, I'm happy to share what I know. I learned from my mom and from ladies in our church growing up different sewing and craft things, and I'm very happy to share what I know with crafting and sewing and any of that. So if there's something that you don't know how to do and you want to know how to do it, just ask in the comments. Send me a comment, let me know what it is you're interested in learning how to do as far as floral arrangements, decorating for an event, anything that you want to know, let me know, and I will be happy to help you with whatever I know. I do a wide variety of things. I do decorate for events. I grew up, going to church, and we had lots of different banquets and things, and I learned very early how to help decorate for those, and then later on how to decorate it completely and set up and do all the organizing. If that's something you guys are interested in too, I can do some basic, how-tos on that. Just let me know what you guys would like to see coming up this next year. And I'm kind of not guiding you through these projects here right now because this is very simple what you guys are seeing. What I do first is I just start gathering all of the blanks that I have. I have a wide variety of shapes and sizes, but again, all of the stencils that I got are of a wide variety too, shapes, sizes, and the stencils all came in like a lot of different packs. So Christmas and fall was what I had for stencils, and I didn't do any for fall really, so I decided to watch that and just kind of see. But as I was saying before, if you do have any kind of craft thing that you would like to learn how to do, I'd be happy to share my knowledge with you. Again, not an expert on anything. I'm kind of like I know a little about a lot of things, and I know how to do a lot of things, but I'm not an expert on any of them. I would never call myself an expert on them. I enjoy crafting. I enjoy making things and creating things. I am not, however, an artist. I cannot draw. So if, there are many things that I'm not an expert in any of these things, but I do enjoy doing them. Sewing, crafting, making floral arrangements, and decorating for events, decorating for different seasons, and setting things up. I'm good at all of that, and I enjoy doing it, but again, not an expert. So if you have any questions, anything you would like to learn how to do, if I don't know how to do it, I can learn and show you how to do it. I am going again in January. We're going to be starting on some sewing and clothing options, not just sewing. So if you don't do sewing, you want to learn how to enhance your clothes to make them more trendy or more on cue, but without spending high prices, I'm going to share all of that knowledge with you. I love beautiful clothes, beautiful shoes. I do not like the high prices, and I am a very frugal shopper when it comes to all of that. So hold on just a moment because my computer is funny. My cord is saying that the battery's going to go. And I had plugged the cord in to the outlet and everything. And when the battery came up, I look over and I hadn't plugged the cord back into the laptop. So that was my fault. Not just assumed it was already plugged into the laptop and just had to plug it into the wall. But alright, so that's all done. Again, some of these are going with stain, some of these are going with paint. It just depends on what kind of look I want in the end. And again, I'm doing an assembly line here. I'm doing all the bases, and then I'm just stacking the stencils up, in a stack, and then I'm setting all of the bases around me on anything I can. The floor, the wall, I'm just setting them everywhere to dry. And like I said, some of these, this one came from Dollar Tree, just a simple little plaque, but you can turn it into a beautiful piece of artwork. And you can change these up. You can add embellishments to these. You can add, you can do anything. You see it in a store and you like it, take a picture of it. If it's something that you want but you can't afford, take a picture of it. I do this all the time. I'm going into stores and taking pictures of things because I'm like, yeah, that price is way too high, and I like that. It's pretty, but I would never pay that for it. So, especially for a holiday decor item, because I feel like it's a decor item that you use only once a year. Now, there are specific pieces that you might want to invest in and pay more money for, and they'll last you a lifetime. The Christmas tree, specific items, like any statues that you want. I have some nutcrackers. I've not paid a lot of money for those, but I do have a really nice nativity scene. I do have some deer that I set out at Christmas that I've paid a little bit more money for. And even with those, I try to find them on sale. I try to shop after Christmas for those larger piece items. If you know, like the greenery and your garlands and things like that, sometimes you will invest in those, and if you invest, they could last you for the rest of your life. And those are items that you can invest in if you have the money to do so. I still try to buy them on sale or on clearance. I still shop after the Christmas season. My favorite time to shop for Christmas is the beginning of January, and I shop for Christmas and I pack up all my Christmas stuff. I pack that up right with it. Then the next year it's brand new, and I got it at a fraction of the cost. So if you do want those higher priced items, you can get them. You can invest in them and still save money. But the lower priced items, like the art, the decor that is going to change throughout the years, like your style changes. The ornaments, there's certain ornaments that you might pay a little bit more for, maybe they're keepsakes, but regular colored ornaments, if your color scheme is going to change, buy the most inexpensive, non-breakable ones that look really nice that you can, and then you don't have to invest in, really, really expensive ornaments, and then 2 years later you don't like that color anymore. So I buy inexpensive ornaments from Hobby Lobby or Walmart, Dollar Tree, anywhere, and I can use them until I'm tired of them, and then I just dispose of them or give them. I don't dispose of them, obviously, I don't throw them away, but I'll use them either for crafting or I donate them, give them to somebody I know could use them, or I just take them to the thrift stores. So I don't spend a lot on my normal Christmas decor. I would rather make it, one, because it's more personal, two, it's exactly what I want, but I'm saving a ton of money. So you can go to the store and you can buy every piece of decor and outfit your home from top to bottom in store-bought things. If that is what you like, that is your choice. If your budget says you can do it. It's just a very expensive way to go. And me personally, no matter what my budget says, I don't want to spend that amount of money. Now, I don't have that kind of money, obviously, but even if I did, I don't think I'd really want to just go to the store and buy it, because I don't like those prices. I just can't see myself ever spending that amount of money for items that I can make a lot cheaper. So I'll go to the stores, I get inspiration off the websites, I go to high-end websites and I look at things, I go to Pinterest and look at things, and I get ideas of things I like. And if I like it, I will take a picture or a screenshot, and then I'm like, okay, what can I do to make this, what can I do to make it affordable? And then I'll think about it for a while and I'll come up with okay, I see this, that would work for that. So I'm constantly, thinking about it. I don't plan what I'm doing for Christmas, the whole thing, everything I'm doing. It's not like that. It's not like I plan it all in January and have it all, but I try to keep it in my mind if there's something specific that I want. If I see something for Christmas that I really want, then I start thinking right after Christmas, I start thinking about how I'm going to get that for the next year. And it is more of a delayed gratification type thing too. So if that's something that bothers you, if you're somebody who, oh, you want it and you need it right then, that's not going to work for you. But for me, it works just fine. I don't have any problem with it, and I'm able to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on decor because of that. Because I don't want to spend the huge prices. And most of these, as you can see, these are very easy. I'm just doing the backgrounds. This white one, you do not see the finished product in the design because, and I don't realize it till the very end when it's finished, the stencil that I use on it, and again, these came from Temu, so I'm not sure, cut wrong, but they misspelled one of the words, and so you don't see this white one in any of my finished projects because I wasn't paying attention. It was completed, and I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, they spelled the name Jesus wrong. So, I don't know, maybe it was, maybe in a different language, that's how it's spelled. I'm not familiar with that, but I know that it was not spelled correctly, so I just left that out. And I used the pieces of scrap to do other things on, so. Again, I'm just going through all the bases here and doing the backgrounds. I'm, working in an assembly line again, setting them everywhere to dry. I do not have a big counter or anything behind me to set them on, so I'm just kind of setting them here, there, everywhere. I have some paint bottles sitting on the floor so I can have some elevated up off the floor to dry. Just sit them wherever you are working, you use that space to the best of your ability and get the most out of that space as well. So I'm just setting these all over to dry. And all around me I've just, got little things. So they were sitting everywhere to dry. And again, some of these are Dollar Tree blanks. This is not one that I ended up doing because I couldn't find the tool to get those things out of the back without leaving big marks, because I ended up leaving big marks on the back, and so I didn't do that one. Oh, and I thought I edited out all of me, trying to clean up just a little bit. Alright, this is the next day, so I let everything dry overnight, and then I came back. It does look like a little bit more zoomed in on this one, so that might have been when I got the suggestion to zoom in a little bit. So I'm just using different colors. This one has antique wax stain on the back, and I'm using gold lettering. It doesn't show up too well. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't, but I probably won't use this combination again. I loved the gold, but it just it wasn't as crisp and as much of a contrast as I had wanted it to be. So the gold on the antique wax, I would probably do it again, but if I did, I would let it completely dry, leave the stencil on, come back and do 2 or 3 layers of the gold to make it more vibrant. So I didn't do that. I had just done 1 layer of the gold, and it turned out pretty. It was very pretty. You can see that in the end, but it just wasn't as much contrast as I wanted. So again, you live and learn, and you make mistakes, and you do these, and you're like, oh, that one turned out really good. Oh, that one not so much. So some colors don't show up on other colors as much, so you kind of have to keep that in mind and just, kind of try everything out and what works and what doesn't, and then you just move on. So in my next video, I'm also going to show you some other items that you can make very quickly and very easily, and if you wanted to set up for a craft show, that you can make several in like a small amount of time to take to a craft show and sell as well. And those are these nativity candle holders that I made. So I do want to show that to you as well. That'll be in the next video. Alright, and that is as simple as that. That's how easy it is to make the sign. And there you go. It's done. It's complete, and I move on to the next one. Again, I'm setting them all around to dry in various places, and then I'm just kind of, sometimes you can, like this stencil doesn't perfectly fit, so it's a little short. It doesn't cover the whole top. So I had another stencil there with snowflakes, and I used that one as well. So you can stack them if you want. That tape, I'm not sure what happened, but on this wood the tape was like pulling off the stain. Like, I don't know what's going on with this. This was a Dollar Tree base, but I don't think it was wood. It may have been cardboard or some kind of it kind of had a, I don't know, sort of a finish on it that was a little bit strange for the wax. So when I put the tape down and tried to pull it up, so I'm just holding the stencil down and pouncing all around. And then I use the other stencil. And yes, I'm going right over it. You don't want to do that because you can mess up the other design. I'm holding up the half that is, I have my hand there and I'm kind of holding it up so that it wasn't messing up the design I just placed below. Now this one, again, wasn't a perfect fit. There was a border around it, so honestly, I just kind of made a border with my paintbrush just to kind of give it a little bit of a frame. It worked out and it turned out cute. So if you don't want to have any paint on the outside edges, you can just tape that off. If the stencil is smaller than your project, just use a little bit of painter's tape and paint it and tape it off. I kind of like the idea of having like a white frame around this painting, so I did it that way, but you can just tape it off if you want. Again, I'm working in an assembly line, so I'm like, okay, what's the quickest? Is it quicker for me to add a border or to tape it off? And on this one, it was quicker for me to just add a border. And see, that's just a piece of scrap wood, but it turns out so cute. Sitting on a shelf, that would be adorable. Any of these would, and I'll show you all of them in the end. See, this one, I don't want any frame around because the piece is shaped a little differently, and I don't want any any of the white to go on those round curves. Sorry, I was looking at a text message at the same time I was trying to talk. Not always a good idea. Alright, so again, my technique for stenciling, I am not an expert and I make so many mistakes. I would have had another rag there to tap off any excess paint because some of these lines are not perfectly crisp. I think it turned out beautiful in the end though, so. Now, if you are using a blank that has holes already in it, you want to make sure that when you put your stencil down, see what I just did there, and I picked the stencil up and twisted it, that way the holes are in the top and not over on the side or down on the bottom, so. This one is Antique Wax and I used red. I love how this turned out, but I probably would have used a more vibrant red. This is like a darker red. It's called Lacquer. It's the Waverly chalk paint. It's like the color Lacquer, which is a little bit of a darker crimson red. I probably would have used a little bit of a brighter red if I had done this, because again, this was not the best contrast. But this one is beautiful in the end and turned out really cute. So. But my technique is just to use a brush and pounce down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And again, this is sped up really quickly. See, there's not a lot of contrast on that. You can see it in the end when it's when I take the picture. You can't see it. It's just again, make sure your holes are up at the top, so if somebody does want to hang this up. At first, I thought I was going to do the stencil multicolored, so I began to tape off the deer and the moose that are in the middle. I think those are actually moose. And then I changed my mind and I was like, you know what, I really don't. I think it would look better if I just did all of this in all one color. And so then I changed my mind and decided to do it all in white, and it turned out beautiful. I love how the sign turned out. It's so cute in the end. So. And I do sometimes I tape the stencil down and sometimes I don't. I know that I'm not consistent with that. And I'm going to just tell you, it's all about how it feels on the project. This one was the exact same size, and I didn't know if I could hold it completely still. So I taped it down all 4 edges. So to me, it's just about how it feels. Other times I'm holding it down and not taping it down at all. Both work perfectly fine. I think it just depends on how it feels. Now, with these larger stencils where there's no tape in the middle, you have to be careful because my brush was like lifting part of the stencil up. When I would pound it down, it was like it was picking it up. So I was just going in small areas. I'm holding it down very close to where I'm pouncing. And then I'm just moving on to another little area. See, so my fingers are there like holding it down. And yes, I am pretty ambidextrous and just kind of pick up the brush with my left hand and just start tapping away that direction too. So this is not artwork, this is not handwriting. I can write with my left hand, but it is not as pretty. So I'm pretty used to just using my left hand along with my right when I'm crafting and stuff. So if you see that, just don't think it's... See, I really like the contrast of the white on the antique wax. I love how that turns out. Alright, so in this video you can see that in a 2-day time period I made all of these signs. And if you were going to sell these and you sold them at $10 a piece, that'd be quite a big amount of money you could make just on the signs alone. Now if you make more signs, you could still do them all in 2 days, and you could make as many as you wanted, and you could do them all in, you wouldn't have to change colors up and stuff. You could do all the antique wax in the white. That is very beautiful and rustic looking for Christmas, and a lot of people love that look. So it just depends on who you're making the signs for, what colors you're using, and who your target audience are. So if you're going to a craft fair that's held more in the country, you might want to go with the antique wax in the white because it is more of a rustic country look, but it's very beautiful. If you're, it just depends on where you're going and who you're going to be selling to and so forth. But me, if it was me doing a show, I think I would do a lot of variety. That way I reach just about anybody who came to that show would be wanting to buy something. And this one, I did a red background and I'm doing white, and I like how this one turned out too. Very beautiful, again, very classic in the red and white. And I think that this could appeal to just about anybody with any style. So country, this could easily fit into a, rustic Christmas decor. This could fit into a traditional Christmas decor, and this could fit into even a modern with just red and white Christmas decor. And so I tried to do a lot of variety with these pictures, with these signs. And I know a lot of people are saying that all the worded signs are out, and, sometimes it's just the pictures, but these, I think at Christmas it's different anyway, and I don't know that at Christmas time that they're all out. There's people who decorate in the complete modern style, and that's up to them. That's their, all neutral. This might not appeal to them, and that's fine. But some of them would appeal to them. I think the antique wax and the white would still appeal to them. So again, it just depends on who you're making these for as to color schemes and so forth. I just did a wide variety because I was having fun with it, and I wasn't making them for anybody in particular. Okay, so this is the one. I had a white background and I was going with red, and it would have turned out really cute. It would have been a cute sign. It was supposed to say Jesus is the reason for the season. However, it did not spell Jesus correctly, so this is not a sign that I kept in. I left it in the video just so that you know. If you get stencils somewhere, just make sure you look at them completely before you make your design. Again, I don't mind wasting one piece. It was a Dollar Tree background, so I wasn't too upset that it was messed up. And if it was a more expensive blank that I was using, I just would have painted over it and started from scratch. You don't have to waste these things. If you are, if you mess up, just paint over it and start again. See, it spelled Jesus incorrectly. So, and I think I was looking at it there, even like, is that I was so focused on stenciling that, like, I'm looking at it like this doesn't look right, and I didn't even figure it out, I don't think, until I went to pick everything out after it dried. Now this stencil I'm making specifically for my mom, because she likes to decorate in the blue and silver, and so I'm decorating in this one specifically for her. So this color scheme would still work for just about anybody, because you could do a dark background for this nativity and it'd still be beautiful. So I did white on top, so white and blue and silver are her colors. But this could also be for anybody else, because, you know, it could represent the dark sky behind them at night when baby Jesus was born. So either way, but you can make these specific to somebody's style. But I'm kind of combining a couple here because I wanted to span the whole thing. I didn't want, you know, just the Oh Holy Night to be down so low. So I dried this part and then I put the top part back on and I do the other piece. Sorry, just having to keep taking drinks. These allergies are really, they make my throat so dry, all the allergy medications, so. Alright, I'm just taping off the pieces that, you know, I'm not taping them all off, but I'm kind of taping where I don't want anything to come through. And I was taping on the back, and I flipped it over and I taped on the front, because it was just easier. I don't know why I did it that way, but. So I do the Oh Holy Night up at the top of the sign, just to kind of spread out the stencil. The stencil was a lot more narrow than the sign was, and you can kind of place it however you want. So I liked it separated that way. I loved it like this. I think this one turned out really cute. So again, did not realize that I was filming, that I thought I edited out all of me cleaning my brushes and taking them out. But just a reminder, clean your brushes. If you see how dirty my water is there, I don't have a sink in my craft room, so just I have to get it all upstairs and wash it all out of the sink and then bring it all back down. But here are how all the signs turned out. A lot of variety. This one, I apologize, my camera was not, the flash should not have been on. It can make a bunch of glare on this picture, but working on that, getting better with. See, I love how this one turned out. The white on top of that red is a beautiful contrast. This one looks aged and older and it looks beautiful. I love how it turned out. I just want a little bit more contrast, I think. The white, these are so simple, and these are kind of small, but this was scrap wood. And a lot of them, they can sit anywhere, on a shelf, you can use on the wall, you can do anything you want with any of these. So again, this one's not the best contrast, so keep an eye out for the color combinations. Some of mine are not the best. I love the white on the antique glass. It really does stand out a lot. The red and the white are very big, bright contrasts, so they stand out a lot. So there's another with the red and white and how much it just pops. It really does pop. And I like how it turns out. I like these. Now, if you're going to use chalk paint, if these are going outside at all, can be on your porch, you want to seal them. I did not seal any of mine. Here's the big one and how it turned out. Alright, this is it for today. I hope you have a wonderful time decorating and creating for Christmas. You guys have a blessed day. Bye!